Hey guys, it's Corey Ross and welcome to this video about Patient Zero. So in Outbreak, in the live version of Outbreak that's out, Patient Zero is the first guy to find the crashed capsule. He sees it crash, he goes and picks it up in his pickup and he takes it back to his barn. He then gets infected and is Patient Zero. But in the concept art for Outbreak, which of course is early development, so a lot have changed since then, the Patient Zero was actually a Russian cosmonaut. Now, all the concept art you're going to see for Patient Zero is done by Arman, and he is a concept artist for Ubisoft. So he's given me permission to use these pictures, but he wants me to let you guys know that this is property of Ubisoft. So in Outbreak right now, what we have is a really cool opening cinematic that gives us a backstory of exactly what's going on and how it all started. But actually going through the missions and getting to the end, you don't really have a conclusion. What happens is we just kind of destroy the virus in the area, and then we come in and airlift the capsule out and then leave. And I think probably originally there was this idea of having a boss battle at the end, and it would have been this female cosmonaut from Soviet Russia. So this concept art is just beautiful. This is the kind of thing I always wanted to do when I was younger, and like, this always blows me away how good these concept arts look. And this is artwork titled Patient Zero. So this would have probably been like the final boss. I'm guessing maybe as well we would have actually seen her throughout the missions. She might have shown up. She also looks to have much more intelligence than the other hostiles we actually find in the game. There doesn't seem to be as much of a personality to them. Like, the Apex is probably the smartest mob we find, and you know, the Apex doesn't really have any kind of personality, and only the grunts actually speak. The other bigger mobs don't say anything at all, and I kind of get the impression this female cosmonaut probably would have talked to us at some point, and definitely seems to be like maybe the core of the virus and maybe the intelligence of the virus perhaps. And to think her backstory as well, what it would have been is she would have been launched up into space in the capsule from Soviet Union and got stuck in space. And then she would have died up there, which is kind of spooky. But also then either a virus that was sent up with her from the Soviet Union or a spaceborne virus got into the capsule, would have then revived her. She would have then probably spent decades potentially floating in space with no oxygen until she came crashing back to Earth in the future. That's quite that would probably turn anybody seriously evil if the virus didn't already do that to start with. So the backstory for this girl would have been sweet as hell. And right now, because of Outbreak's ending being so open, because all we do is we blow up the virus and then we actually airlift out the capsule, and that's it. There's no like explanation of what happens next. Now maybe after the 4 weeks of Outbreak we might get another cinematic that's kind of the ending cinematic, and it'll show all our favourite operators and give us a nice closing to everything. But the fact that they're flying off with that capsule does kind of leave it open-ended. Now I do believe the developers when they say that they have no plans to do another Outbreak, and even I think if they do, they'll probably just kind of bring back this Outbreak that they've already worked on so hard for and just, you know, put it back up for another couple of weeks in the future at some point, rather than do a whole new set of missions and a whole new backstory and a whole new cinematics. But it does leave it open, like this cosmonaut could be in the capsule and could certainly come out at some point and could still be part of some bigger backstory in the future. So there you go guys, I think this concept art is just incredible. I've not used the full-sized images here, I've used the smaller versions, and of course I got permission from Arman to use them. But I recommend going to his pages. So there's a Facebook link below and his portfolio link below. You can go check it all out. And yeah, like, this stuff just blows me away. I love seeing these kind of concept arts, and they're just the most beautiful thing ever. And I really would have loved to have fought or met this Russian cosmonaut in game. I think from the look of her, she would have had a hell of a cool personality and been spooky as hell. But there you go guys, that is my little video about Patient Zero. The Patient Zero that existed before the current version of Patient Zero that we see in Rainbow Six Siege Outbreak. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.